welcome back to the ANS Way. Today's video is going to be a general update. We haven't done one of these properly in quite a while, I don't think. We were doing lots of them.
Good few months.
Yeah. But when we got here, we were doing lots of them because lots were happening when we were moving, and we thought we would just give you a general update on life. One of the things that we have struggled with since moving to the USA is getting our driving license, and I can confirm over a year later, neither of us still have one.
There's a theme to this, and there's another video that's coming up that we talk about some of our frustrations. I don't know whether it's going to come out one before this or one after with the US, and government agencies is a massive problem, not just from our point of view, but I've spoken to, there's a lady that runs a clinic. She used to run the travel clinic, which does the health assessments. She just said it's a nightmare, and we're experiencing it. So it's a year later, no license for either of us. A year later, no work permit.
Yeah, and trying to get any information out of the DMV to work out what's gone wrong, because in both of our cases our licenses were cancelled, and trying to figure out why and how to resolve it is almost impossible.
So if you think about that, in order for it to be cancelled, we'd got a lot of the way through the process. So in the UK, you will not be able to apply or sit a test unless you meet the criteria. Here, sure, come in, spend 4 hours, give us your money, and then we'll cancel you later until you haven't met the criteria, even though we have, but they've just made up a new rule on that day, or you've got the wrong person on that day. So we both had frustrations. My one was cancelled after I did my theory test, so the written test or the computer test, and your one was cancelled after doing your driving test.
Actual driving test. And it took almost 5 or 6 months for me to get the letter that saying that it was cancelled.
We had to contact the immigration lawyer for advice and basically tell the DMV that they have messed up. And Selena went back and forth 20 plus emails telling them, you have messed this up, this isn't us. And then it was, oh yeah, you know what, we've worked out we've messed this up.
Yeah.
After 6 months of you hassling us, we messed this up.
Yeah, so I essentially had to go back to the DMV because of a mistake they apparently had made in submitting my application. They didn't submit all the information that the Department of Homeland Security need in order to identify you. So that apparently was my problem. I went back there a couple of weeks ago. They're now saying that it should all be fine. I don't know.
We'll believe it when we see it, because all of our interactions so far have been poor with government agencies here. And what's really interesting, we've just had to request birth certificates. And remembering we were born in the mid-80s from the UK, it's about a 3-minute job, and they'll send you your full birth certificate.
Easy, yeah.
You log on online. We have 2 different systems. There's kind of 2 different government logons that kind of holds all of your ID. You can log on to there, grab all of your stuff, tell them what you need, and they'll send it. They'll even post it directly to our home here in about 3 or 4 days. That is a fantastic system. It shouldn't take a year for a government agency to realise they've messed up your driving licence. But
yeah. And just for clarification, they should not have cancelled my driving licence. We are entitled to the driving licence, which is a real ID. In other news, we have been going through the purchase of a new home here in the USA. We put the deposit down back in September. We've got lots of...
What month is it now?
It is April. It is April, and I forgot what I was going to say there.
We've got lots of videos on...
Yeah, documenting that process, full breakdown of the costs involved and construction of the house, so do go check those out if you haven't already.
Including electrical, design centre, the options they force you to have, all of the hidden costs that they don't display on the cost sheet. There's not technically true, they do show you, but after the fact, when they advertise the price of the home, that isn't actually the price that you can buy it for. So I think for anybody that is just interested in how the US price homes and how they build them, definitely go and watch that.
Exciting news at the moment is that we've had our first walkthrough. So this is a pre-dry wall walkthrough, and essentially gives you the opportunity to check that all the electrical options are correct, all the kind of they talk you through features of the house, which you never get to do in the UK.
Yeah.
Which I really like. So it's really interesting knowing kind of where your electrical outlets are, the water, how the water supply is, the HVAC system, some of the tips of do's and don'ts of the house, or how Americans manage their home. So we had that last Friday, I think.
Yeah, 3 days ago.
which was definitely very interesting. But the key thing here is apparently from this point, everything should be very quick in terms of the build. So they say. But they did seem really confident.
Yeah, I think they've got to the point where they've probably got most of the items that we've ordered, which means it's just a case of getting the labour to do it. The only thing they need to wait on is there's, I think, 2 more, what are they called, local permits, sign off from the county that come out and check that the house has been built according to code. And I think pretty much it's a downhill run from there. So it takes 6 months to get to the point the house still doesn't even look anywhere near finished, and then 2 months to finish it from that point.
Which is still crazy to me because it seemed...
There's no walls, there's
yeah,
nothing.
it seemed like such, not slow progress, but it just seemed so crazy to hear from them on Friday that they're saying in 6 weeks it could be done.
Yeah.
Which is crazy to me. But we're looking forward to that. So in terms of that, we're just waiting for final confirmation that the house will be ready. Then it's sort the mortgage and really prepare for the move.
So the painful thing is when we put our deposit down, the interest rates are somewhere between 2.7 and 3%. You technically can lock in a mortgage at that point. You have to pay something like 2% of the mortgage up front, and then obviously if something goes wrong you've paid that money, so you wait until you're about 45 days out. Unfortunately for us and lots of people in our situation, the mortgage rates have jumped from 2.73 to 5%, which means we've got approximately a 2% increase in our mortgage rate in the space of 6 months already, and by the time we close, who knows where the mortgage rates will be. So that's fairly painful.
It is, and it was one of the things, if you've watched our prior videos, that we said we were a bit concerned about what was going to happen by the time we close. It was one of the risks. I feel a bit better that we weren't on the edge of what we could afford. I feel better that it's more of a comfortable price house that we went for. But it's still not nice.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, that's the main thing. It's not nice. It's not really about whether or not it's affordable, because there are obviously going to be people in really bad positions where you might have been right on the edge of your debt to income, and this will push you over, and you will not be able to get a mortgage now because it's going to cost you another $500 per month, and that's too much. For us, that isn't the case, but it's still just as painful. That's a Tesla. $500 a month is a
painful,
Tesla.
But it would have been worse if you were one of those that now have to back out of the house. That would have been worse.
But when you look at in what you could afford, that's a holiday a year. That's
a lot of money.
Rental of a lease of a Tesla, so it's a lot of money. One of the things that we have learned, and I might do a video on this, is you can buy down some of the financing, so you can put down like 1% more of the home, so you can pay to the mortgage lender. And that reduces it down. So we'll have a look into that. I'm on the phone to the broker on Monday, so we'll discuss what are the best options. But yeah, a little bit painful. It's a bittersweet because I cannot wait to move, but it's kind of painful that we're going to be paying more.
The other bit that we've been looking into recently, if you've watched some of our other videos, were around possibly purchasing in Sarasota. So about 3 weeks ago, I think now, we were in Florida. We spent a little under a week there. Really for Ant.
You spent 2 weeks.
I spent 2 weeks there, but I was there. I was a week in Orlando and then in Sarasota. And really the idea was to look into an investment property, a place that we could use over the winter months of Vegas, so Ant can hibernate somewhere warm, but also to give us another investment opportunity, but another place to go and visit other than Vegas throughout the year. And it was definitely an interesting visit. I'm glad we went. I definitely went to Sarasota thinking I was going to like it a lot more than I did. And I'll be... I was going to say, I'll break it down.
Not Sarasota, I would say.
Yeah, so the issue isn't actually Sarasota. I went there thinking of Sarasota, but not appreciating the expanse and size of Florida. And if you get Sarasota, Bradenton, and then this huge master plan community called Lakewood Ranch that everyone was raving about, saying how great this master plan community, this is the spot that you want to be, where everyone is going. Yeah, if you're really old and have nothing to do with yourself.
So normally she's very much Well, you're a businessman. You're cautious with your words and usually very balanced. So it's quite funny that she's prepared to say that she very rarely deviates from this line.
no.
She's like, "Oh, it's fine. Here's some positives, here's some negatives," but really didn't like it. I see some positives in it. I think if you don't have to be old, but it's definitely the demographic is a much older, probably 20 years on average older than here. I really see it. So if you've got a young family and you want somewhere that's really safe, really clean, with lots of activities, opportunity, and great universities, it's an ideal place. You don't need, as long as you don't need that city life, or you come from somewhere where you're used to the beach life. So you kind of got some nice beach shops, you've got ample opportunity to get to the beach with minimal traffic in comparison to somewhere like California, then it's probably not going to bother you so much. Selena really likes city living, and I think here is ideal because you've got the blend. We live in the suburbs, it takes 23 minutes to get into the city. So you've got this perfect blend, and we've lived here for a year. Previously, you would spend a lot of time getting in and out of London, so you're so used to that.
This mimics London, UK living for me, but with better weather and better amenities around.
And Lakewood Ranch in particular is the polar opposite, and it doesn't afford you some of the things that California, because when you live near a beach, you've still got these towns, and it's really close. So it might only be 2 or 3 miles that you need to go to get to where you're living or where you're staying. Lakewood Ranch, you might have to drive 45 minutes to get to where you live, between there and the beach, or even Sarasota Main Street.
Yeah, we sat in traffic there. Everything was a minimum of 20 minutes. Sometimes we would spend 45 minutes to an hour getting somewhere. That's not for me. Lakewood Ranch in itself is truly impressive. The homes, the developments, everything was really nice. Like visually, it was great. It just felt a bit in the middle of nowhere with nothing to do. Now, what I did say, and this is, I liked Sarasota.
Yes, which is why I'm saying it's not Sarasota you don't like.
I want to be quite specific about this. I liked Sarasota, and if we could have an apartment near the main street of Sarasota and the beach, I would definitely do it, and I would be there for part of the year and visit. But I don't think I could
live out in where the families live, so the suburban communities.
In terms of medical, we have had a few more experiences with it now, and what's been interesting for me have been the costs. Now, I know it's not the same for everyone, and it really does depend on whether you have insurance, who supplies your insurance, if it's in your employer, and what insurance your employer also offers you. I believe I probably have a very good insurance through my company.
Definitely.
And so far, I would say it is so much cheaper than what we were paying.
So for the people that haven't watched our previous videos, you should be. How much do we pay for the two of us a month? Under 300.
For the actual insurance, yeah. And we also put some money aside each year in a flexible savings account. So this is pre-tax money that comes out of my income that goes into this account so that we can use that for medical expenses. So I think we have you can put about $2,000 in there.
I think it's 3,000, 2,800 total.
Or something maximum each year that you can have, and you can have 500 of that roll over. But the interesting thing here is, as an example, last week I had a prescription, and I only paid $4 for that prescription, which is actually cheaper than an NHS prescription.
Way cheaper.
And I know prescription prices do change. So I've paid $4, I've paid $8 for another one. I think the most I've ever paid here is $12 for a prescription.
I paid $12 for my dental prescription, so that might be the maximum on the
There's
insurance. There's
definitely, on our plan, it tells you kind of the different prices, but the maximum is still lower than what we were paying in the UK. There has been some other really cool perks as well. As an example, 2 weeks ago I wasn't feeling that well. I wasn't sure if I had hay fever or a cold.
We should probably point that out. So something that is you would never believe here, and a lot of people say it's because they have to ship in so many, because it's a desert, so everything is foreign here. The pollen or allergy effects on people here is so extreme. Not just Selena, I went to the gym and the staff there, a lady was either off for 2 weeks or was considering being off for 2 weeks because she thought she was ill, and it turned out to be allergies. And we were watching one of the YouTubes that we watch. He thought he was ill. He wasn't working. He's a workaholic. And it was allergies as well. It is that extreme, or it can be that extreme here for people.
And because of that, it's very normal for people to get allergy shots. So you can take tablets, the over-the-counter, you can get prescription tablets, or you can get a shot here. And what was really good about the system that we have with our health plan was that I have an app. I could request a virtual clinic. Within, I think, 10 minutes, I was seeing a physician.
Yeah, not 2 weeks.
Yeah.
That's what it is in the UK at the moment,
Who
or was when
essentially
we
done
left.
my prescription and everything. So within 30 minutes of me using an app, I had a prescription and was seen by someone. And I think I paid a $15 copay for that. So extremely cheap.
Yeah, it's really difficult, I think, for people to get their heads around them because it's very personal how much medical costs.
Yes.
For people that have watched, they probably know that they will know that I go on about it. For other people, depending on your income will determine how good you think the NHS system is in the UK. If your income is low, then it's probably fantastic because you get so much more out. And let's say there's one person working in your family and you've got 2 kids, it's effectively free. Let's say you're on 30 grand, you might be paying £200 a month at most for your national insurance, which includes all of your later life benefits like your pension and everything. So that's a fantastic system. When you earn reasonable money, it is a brutal system because it's 10%. It just obviously scales at the same rate. Here it's fixed. It's $300 a month. That's it.
Yes, but you do have to pay for your co-pays and everything. But
Well, as you've just explained.
Everything for us is significantly under what we were paying in total in taxes. So for me, it definitely is cheaper for us. The one thing I would say is the negative that I'm working out is navigating the system here is complex. And having worked in healthcare for very many years now and working in healthcare in many different countries and knowing different systems, I would honestly say so far the US has the most complex healthcare system I have ever encountered. The other thing that is a first time for us is that we've submitted our first tax return, the US.
Which I enjoy.
I did not enjoy it. I did not like it at all. So for our first one, because it's part of my relocation package, we have Deloitte helping us with our first US tax return.
I don't know about helping us.
Yeah, I know. I would
Being
say
the
loose,
agent, collecting
very
the
loose
cash.
help.
I don't feel that we had any assistance other than the portal they provided.
The portal, I mean, they gave guidance last year in terms of some information, and that was very useful for some context and awareness. But the actual process of submitting the tax return was not very helpful, and their portal I did not like at all.
No, and I would say a lot of the stuff we got guidance on up front was really useful, but probably stuff I would have learned in the space of that year anyway. And a lot of the stuff that I actually put in there was stuff I'd either learned myself or picked up from other people. So my personal opinion on Deloitte is it's a cash grab because corporations like to pay other corporations, or if you really have no idea about taxes, I'm sure you would have been badgering them a lot more. But each question we asked when it came to actually submitting, they were conveniently missing until we worked it out ourselves.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would not be happy, and I would definitely not pay for that service out of my own pocket.
Yeah, and I would just say in general, I did not enjoy it just because it's time consuming. That you have something called a W-2 form, which I guess is a bit like your P60 at the end of your tax year, which it collates all your information from the last year for that particular employer. But then you have to go into something else and then write everything down from that W-2 form, so it's not even recognizing that straight away. Whereas with HMRC, if you log in and I've done a self-assessment for many years now back in the UK, but a lot of it is pulling a lot of your information already automatically. That is not the case here. It's good in that you can use the US tax system in order to get deductibles. There's everything. There seems to be a way of some form of leveraging the system based on kind of different expenses you might have incurred that year. And there's greater flexibility with that. And I think that is great. But what that does mean is there's a lot of work. And I just wish the baseline of that was just a lot easier.
So we have clearly very different opinions. I really enjoyed doing it, and I would prefer that all tax systems worked in the same way as the US, and I view it from a very different standpoint in that you cannot expect. No, firstly, it's none of the government's business what happens up until the point I'm letting them know what our total income is and what our deductibles are.
Ooh.
I'm not a big believer in giving the government the money and then requesting it back, which is how Selena views it, which is how it's done in the UK. So if you do have deductibles, you can get it back at the end of the year.
I'm not
by
saying that they should
submitting
take
it.
the money. I'm just saying that the system should be integrated where they know that information.
However, the reason why I don't think it should work like that is the same for a business. So if you run a business at home, small, medium business, and let's say you're selling ice creams, just because I saw the ice cream truck a moment ago, why would the government have, what do they need? Daily updates of how many ice cream? No. At the end of the year, I will tell you how much I earned, how much I spent, any deductibles that I should have. It's an individual thing. So for me, it works in that way. It works as in, I am my own entity and I'll pay my fair share of taxes by what I submit to you at the end of the year. I don't believe in this. Just give them and then work it out with them after. So
Yeah, we're a bit different on that. I just like it to be an easier system.
but we had that and we were getting taxed to hell. We had a really
I'm
easy
not saying that you
system.
have to be taxed the same amount. I'm just saying the integration of the system could be there, where you get taxed less, but also have the kind of the lower taxes, but with the integration is what I want.
Yeah,
The same
that's
with
the dream
deductibles.
system.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I'm always looking for improvement.
It did take, I could go into a lot of details why I disagree, but I think it did take us probably, you did some stuff, what, a couple of hours?
More than that.
Oh wow, okay. So a few hours?
Yeah.
Few hours, and I did about 4 hours of work. It's not going to be like that going forward because you can use your baseline from the previous year. It's only the numbers that change, but we did have to spend quite a lot of time putting in previous addresses, previous employers, stocks and shares that we've
lots.
owned over the past 6 years, how many days were you in the US, so you have to submit a calendar, and because this is our first year, it does become really complicated in. For example, if in 2017 we were to have spent more than 160 days, there's potential tax implications here. So they have to know that whether or not you did. We didn't, but it was more complex than it would normally be, the tax submission.
We'll see.
This-
We'll see
this
next
year.
year. We're going it alone next year, so we'll see how it goes.
No, we're probably going to get a tax attorney and one that really understands the system and is working for us to make sure that
Yeah.
we're able to claim absolutely everything. We've taken a best guess because Deloitte didn't suggest anything to us. So anywhere where we've had trips to the UK to deal with properties, any taxes in the UK, we've submitted those. But I'm absolutely positive there's more stuff that we could have put on there. We're just not aware of it yet. And I doubt the saving for us paying somebody else versus the free tax year this year is worth it,
Yeah, that's true.
because somebody's paid Deloitte and we haven't
Yeah,
had to pay out of pocket.
exactly.
I don't want to pay somebody $5,000 and not save $5,000.
So I think that is it for our update. We're not doing as much as these. We're really at a point now where we're feeling a lot more settled, and I just cannot wait to get into our new home. That's the real bit for me.
She says this, however, and it's usually me because you get to see me on camera travelling around trying to find our next place. We did take a trip to TriPoint, who happens to be, or turns out to be, probably both of our favourite builder.
Yeah.
And we've looked at quite a lot of the new build homes, and we thought, we went somewhere
I
else
found
first,
the
didn't we?
home.
Didn't we? And then you were like, oh, let's go and have a look. So we went up there, and all of these places are maximum of 8 minutes from our home. And I agree, it was amazing. But Selena was sold, so then we were trying to work out, can we get out of this house? Not get out of it, as in complete, and then sell it, and then try and get into the next house, or do we rent this one out and get some cash from somewhere? Do we cash out stocks? So this is how serious Selena was taking this house.
I loved it. There's a particular house. It's the ideal. It's got everything that I think I would want in a house in terms of its the setup of the rooms,
The courtyard.
the courtyard it
The
has,
side garden, the back garden,
its
yard.
location as
Oh,
well.
and one of the best things, so the thing that was really selling it for me is TriPoint have really fair pricing at this particular site. So to get a full strip view, which they can never promise, but there can't be anything built higher than where we would be. It's right at the top. It's got view fencing. They said between $75,000 and $100,000. And to put that into context, a corner lot where we are, which has no views, is 90 to 100,000. The Toll Brothers with no views, they wanted 150,000. Exactly. This is a much bigger lot with, I mean, end-to-end strip and downtown. You can see.
So the value for money that you're getting, the value you're getting for that lot premium is much better there in comparison to other sites. It doesn't mean I agree with the overall premise of these lot premiums in the first place, but definitely better value than others.
Yeah, so that was where you say you can't wait. You can't wait, you're right, but we nearly had
that's true.
A diversion.
But I'll be patient for the home. But yeah, I think that's it for today. Thanks for watching. As always, comment below. We do enjoy reading all of your comments. Don't forget to hit that like button, and thanks for watching.